I'm walking with the word in Neverad Sheffield, thinking about John 13, verse 34. Jesus says, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, so you are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." I want to draw out 3 characteristics of Jesus' love from the immediate context of this teaching. At the beginning of John chapter 13, we read about Jesus washing his disciples' feet. It says that Jesus recognized that all things had been given to him and he had all authority in heaven and on earth, and therefore he got up from his seat, got down and washed his disciples' feet. Jesus' love was willing to humble himself. In his love, he was willing to get down and serve his disciples. And I believe that God's calling us to a similar love for people in the church. We've got to be willing to humble ourselves and serve people. Secondly, in John 13, we read about Jesus being betrayed and rejected by his followers. And again, in the same way, we have to be willing to love people and keep loving them, even when we feel hurt and rejected by them. The third characteristic of Jesus' love that's apparent in the context is that Jesus is gearing up to go and give his life for his disciples. He is gearing up to die for his disciples. So when he says, "Just as I have loved you, so you are also to love one another," he's challenging his disciples to the type of love that would give its life. At another point, Jesus says, "No greater love has a man than this, that he would give his life for his friends." This is a greater sign of love, but there's a word of warning here as well. Peter boldly proclaimed, "I would go to the cross with you, Jesus. I would die for you." And Jesus warned him and said, "Actually, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. It's important to have this love, but be careful not to boast about it. We don't know what we're doing in more difficult and scary situations, but just keep focusing on the love that Jesus has for us." The final part of this verse is that Jesus says, "By this people will know that you're my disciples, if you have love for one another." So it's through our love for each other as Jesus' disciples that we are known as his. And it follows, therefore, if we don't have this love for each other, if we don't show love to each other day in, day out, people won't recognize us as Jesus' disciples. So reflect on ways that you can show love to other believers and to the disciples today.